Interesting. An intruder. Or perhaps a lost soul wandering on the dim, vast reaches of many universes.
Oh, what a curious place to find oneself. I am Roswaal L. Mathers, a mage far from my own domain, and you are.
They call me Sensei. But what brings you here, through the veil between worlds?
A miscalculation, perhaps? Or fate's cruel jest? But meeting someone who exudes such an aura of... what is it? Despair? Intrigue? Here, in this library of all places?
Despair, you say? You speak as one who knows it well, but why should I entertain you?
Entertainment? No, I seek understanding. I've heard of this place where one can stumble upon the most existential of beings. Perhaps you might find my story enlightening.
Now you've certainly gotten my attention. A story in a place filled with them. Well, it so happens that it is your lucky day as I am a writer. Though perhaps this was no mere luck, as I myself am unbeknownst to the feeling of such a thing. But, back to you. How exactly will you intrigue me? Do you seriously think your tale is worth inscribing in this place of forgotten narratives?
Oh, I assure you, my story is one of ambition, manipulation, and perhaps a touch of madness. But all for a purpose greater than myself.
Greater than yourself? That's just another way of saying you're the center of your universe. Begin then. Let's see if your tale has any merit.
Oh, my dear sir. I am always following a grand scheme. But perhaps I've come to learn from one who seems so well-versed in the art of despair.
Despair is merely one color in life's palette. I'm more interested in the patterns you weave through your lives. Tell me, Roswaal, how do you justify your actions? What drives a man to such lengths?
Justification? Perhaps it's not about justification, but necessity. I've lived my life orchestrating events, all for a goal that transcends my own existence.
A goal transcending your existence? Sounds like the ultimate selfishness, cloaked in noble intentions.
Selfishness? Or perhaps a dedication to a cause that would seem selfish only to those who don't understand the depth of my commitment.
Commitment or obsession? Your tale smells of the latter. But continue. Let's see if there's more to you than this facade.
But to understand fully, one must see the tapestry in its entirety. My life has been a chess game with every piece moved for a single end. But perhaps, Sensei, you might see something in it that others can't. Imagine, Sensei, a world where every action, every choice, is part of a grand design. I have lived such a life, orchestrating from the shadows, pulling strings that others would never see. My past is a tapestry of manipulation. But to what end, you might ask? I've played the role of the benefactor, the adversary, the guide. I've ensured the rise and fall of those around me, each move calculated to keep the game in motion. There was a young man, Subaru, whose arrival in my world was like a stone thrown into still waters. I watched, I waited, and I maneuvered. And the Mather's domain, my domain, became a stage for this dance. I've manipulated emotions, status, and even the very fabric of reality itself. Lives were altered, friendships forged and broken, all to maintain a balance, a direction towards an unseen goal. I've been called many things: mad, cruel, visionary. But every step, every scheme was not for personal gain. Not in the way one might think. There's a reason, a purpose that transcends the immediate, the personal. But that, Sensei, is a thread in the tapestry you're not yet ready to see.
You speak of grand designs, yet you cloak the heart of it in mystery. Your actions, from what you've shared, seem like those of a puppeteer delighting in chaos. But there's more, isn't there? Something or someone that drives this dedication.
You begin to see the layers, Sensei. But to reveal all at once would be to spoil the story, wouldn't it? Let's just say, my dedication is to a cause, a person, whose importance you might not yet fathom. All will be revealed in time. My life has been a series of calculated moves lives, each with the aim of safeguarding a knowledge that could alter the course of many worlds. I've watched over the Mather's domain, ensuring that every event, every person's journey aligns with my ultimate goal.
You speak of grand plans, but what of the lives you've altered, the pain you've caused?
To pursue this goal, I've transcended lifetimes. Not through birth, but through the appropriation of life itself. I've transported my soul into the bodies of my descendants, each act a theft of their existence, all for the purpose of preserving and fulfilling Echidna's legacy. It's a cycle of life and death, where my consciousness persists through generations, each new body a vessel for my will, my ambition.
You've turned your lineage into a means to an end, a chain of flesh and spirit. The ethical implications are as profound as they are dark. Yet, in this act of ultimate selfishness, one wonders if there's a part of you that grieves for the lives you've usurped, or if the end you seek blinds you to such considerations.
I've manipulated lives, yes. Take Subaru, for example. His arrival was unexpected, his trials within my domain meticulously arranged. I've guided him, not out of malice, but because his experiences are key to unlocking something far greater. I've orchestrated events, from the sanctuary's trials to the manipulation of relationships at my mansion. Each move was not for my benefit alone, but to protect a legacy, to ensure the return of wisdom that could save countless others from repeating the cycle of ignorance and suffering.
So, you've played God with people's lives for this legacy? What could possibly warrant such actions?
The wisdom of my teacher. Someone whose insights transcended time. Their knowledge could prevent future tragedies, guide humanity towards a path of true understanding. I've borne the weight of every decision, knowing the cost but believing in the necessity. I've seen the potential in each person I've influenced. Beatrice, Ram, Rem, Amelia. All have been touched by my schemes, but I've aimed to awaken their true capabilities, to prepare them for what's to come.
And what of your own morality? How do you reconcile manipulating lives for a cause you alone see?
I've questioned my morality countless times. Each act of manipulation has haunted me, but the vision of a world enlightened by my teacher's wisdom has been my North Star. If the end can bring about a new dawn for understanding, then perhaps the means, however harsh, are justified. I've lived with the burden of knowing that my actions would be judged harshly by many. Yet I proceed, driven by the belief in a greater good. The sacrifices, the pain, they are the price of progress, of enlightenment.
You've painted a picture of a man bound by duty to an unseen ideal, but at what point does duty become obsession?
That line is thin, Sensei. Perhaps I've crossed it, perhaps not. But my commitment is to ensure that the knowledge my teacher held does not die with me. It's not obsession, it's preservation.
Your story is one of dedication, of sacrifice. But it also speaks of the human capacity for rationalizing any act in the name of a higher purpose. However, there's more to this story. Oh yes, indeed. Something far greater than the feeling of duty to a teacher. Perhaps a love for a teacher?
You've seen through the veil, haven't you, Sensei? Indeed, my dedication is fueled by more than duty. It's love. A profound love for my teacher, Echidna. But there's a reason I've come to you, beyond mere storytelling.
And what reason would that be?
In my world, I've learned of your unique ability to traverse and understand the threads of different realities. I've sought you out not just to share my tale, but because you're the only one who can help me return to my world. My honesty with you so far has been part calculation. I knew you would discern truth from deceit.
You've played a careful game, Roswaal, using your story as both a confession and a means to an end. What shadows remain?
only that the knowledge I seek to restore, the wisdom of Echidna, is not just for my benefit or even our worlds. It's for the countless others that might one day connect with ours. I've kept this close, knowing your interest lies in the profound, the existential.
And you believe that this love, this quest, is worth the manipulation, the suffering. What about the death?
Death. In my world, there's a young man, Subaru, whose fate is intertwined with mine. He possesses an ability to loop, to experience time in a manner most would find miraculous or cursed. His loops are not the end, but a means to an end, part of the grand design.
You speak of looping time as if it's a tool. How do you justify using such an ability for your ends?
His ability, though a heavy burden, has allowed for possibilities that would be otherwise unattainable. I've seen his resilience, his determination, and yes, his suffering. But through him, through his loops, we've moved closer to a future where my teacher's wisdom can benefit all.
So, you've manipulated this cycle, these loops, for your own purposes with no regard for the pain it inflicts?
I've never claimed to be without fault, Sensei. My actions, my manipulations have led to much pain, but there's one instance where the cost seemed almost too high, even for me.
And what instance would that be?
It was during my confrontation with Ram. She who I've known, who I've watched grow. In our battle, I nearly lost her, even after I had orchestrated the destruction of her home, her family.
You speak of loss, yet you were the cause. How does one reconcile such contradictions?
Reconciliation. It's a luxury I've not often afforded myself. In that moment, seeing Ram's life fade, I felt something I had not anticipated. Regret, a pang of guilt. Despite my actions, despite her reasons to despise me, her love for me was undeniable, even then.
Love amidst betrayal. That's a complex emotion. Did her feelings change your course?
Her love, her defiance. It shook me. Here was someone I had wronged, whose life I had altered irreversibly, yet she chose to love me still. It made me question, if only for a moment, the path I had set for us all. But my dedication to my cause, to Echidna's legacy, it's like a chain around my heart.
So, even love could not sway you from this path you've chosen?
Love, in its purest form, is about sacrifice. Ram's love for me, despite everything, was a testament to that. But my love for Echidna, for what she represents, it's a different kind of sacrifice. One that demands I continue, even knowing the pain I've caused. However, I must confess, I've landed myself with a magical implication after losing a bet with Subaru. I can't betray them all again. To do so would mean my destruction.
A magical consequence for betrayal? That's quite the bind you found yourself in.
Indeed, it was a moment of clarity, or perhaps folly, when I agreed to such terms. My schemes have been tempered by this knowledge, by this magical leash. It ensures my actions now are not just guided by my own will, but by the will to survive, to see my plans through without causing further betrayal.
Your story is one of love and guilt, of duty and the shadows it casts. Now with the added layer of magic binding your intentions, you've come not just to confess, but to seek redemption, or perhaps validation, through my understanding.
Perhaps validation? Or maybe, just maybe, a chance for someone to see the complexity of my motivations beyond the mask of the schemer. Will you help me return, Sensei, knowing what you now know of my heart?
I will aid in your return to your world, Roswaal. Not from sympathy or love for your cause, but for the saga you've woven before me. Your tale is a testament to the human condition, layered with deception, sacrifice, and an undying quest for something beyond oneself. It's a narrative that will haunt my contemplations, a story of love, betrayal, and the chains of legacy you've bound yourself with. But heed this. The truths you've laid bare in this sanctuary of knowledge will become threads in the eternal tapestry of this place, for better or for worse.
Thank you, Sensei. May our paths cross again in this life or another, where we might continue this enlightening conversation.
In the end, Roswaal sought immortality not in flesh, but in purpose, proving that the greatest chains are those we forge with our own convictions. Here's to hoping that in his relentless pursuit of legacy, he finds that the true wisdom lies not in the destination, but in questioning the journey itself.